I'll call your next witness.
Yes, Clarissa Herrera.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Clarissa Herrera.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Herrera, are you Emily's mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What is her date of birth?
11/11/07.
How old were you when you met Alex?
Like 9.
9?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then when did you get married to Roy?
Sorry, I'm horrible with the dates. 2014.
In 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there's only few age, or how far apart in age are you and Alex?
A few months.
Okay. So you were in the same grade?
No, ma'am. He was a year before me.
Okay. Now, so he was 10 and you were 9?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you and Roy got married at 14 in 2014?
Yes, ma'am. I believe so. Sorry, I'm really bad with dates.
Okay. Do you recall getting into a relationship with Alex in 2014?
I don't recall the dates.
Okay. Do you recall being in a relationship with Alex before the outcry on September 15th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And this is while you were still married. Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And just one moment. There's a square microphone there, and you could put that somewhere on your shirt so the court reporter can hear. And if you could keep your voice up so members of the jury can hear.
Yes,
all right, you may continue.
Okay. So you testified that you got married in 2014, but actually your certificate of marriage is registered in 2011. Is that right?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm horrible with dates. You're right. You're right. Yes, ma'am.
I want to be clear.
Yes.
Okay. So during that period of time, did you have a sexual relationship with Alex?
I did.
Okay. Are you familiar with his genitalia?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything remarkable about Alex's genitalia?
I'm not sure what you're asking, but no.
Okay. Do you recall having thousands of Skype messages between the two of you?
Yes.
And you would send images of genitalia, oh, you would send explicit images to each other?
Not the object our type of hearsay, essentially listening to what this person said.
All right, that'll be overruled.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you would send him pictures of yourself and he would send you pictures of himself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ever, whenever you would have your sexual relations, did you ever notice curling that he has?
I don't recall. I'm sorry.
I marked it Defendant's Exhibit 28, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Isn't it true that Alex has 3 pearls on the top of his penis?
I guess it's possible, but I don't know.
How many times did you have sexual relations with Alex?
I don't know.
Well, more than once?
Yes.
So, and your relationship lasted from 2014 until 2019?
On and off, there would be times that I would not have any communication with him whatsoever.
Okay. But you would agree that it was certainly more than 50 times.
I don't know about 50. I'm sorry, but I don't remember the markings on him.
Okay. Do you recall discussing them in your communications with him?
I don't think so. It could be, I'm not sure.
And you had a good relationship with Alex, is that right?
Yes,
Until he stopped paying you child support, right?
I'm gonna object to
No.
relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled.
no, that's not true.
And then you also had an issue with him dating Lisette, is that right?
Not initially, but she did grow on me. I did like her after a while. I did not like her initially.
And you've messaged him and said that doesn't matter who he's seeing, you guys were always going to be meant for each other.
It still calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
Overruled.
That's not true. I know I stated there multiple times. I hope you find somebody that can treat you right, somebody who can love you.
You weren't mad when he dated other girls?
Not at all. We openly talked about that. He even had a tattoo of somebody on his chest.
Now, you never sent him messages after the outcry.
No, I
Object to
was
relevance, Your Honor.
angry.
Overruled.
No, I was furious. Or you said it, was there any communication? I mean, just for child support, but other than that, I think I reached out at anger. But that was pretty much it.
Isn't it true 7 days after the outcry you asked for money?
I object to hearsay.
Overruled.
I believe so. Yes, he was still, to me, obligated to pay for his daughter.
Okay. And then months later, you again hit him up for money.
It was always an ongoing issue throughout the years. He would pay, he would have car issues and different reasons as to why he couldn't pay.
You would agree that you have a long CPS history.
I do not. I have CPS cases, yes, but not a long history, no. Are you referring to my childhood or to my children personally?
Well, if you want to talk, we can start with your childhood. You had CPS called on you approximately 15 times.
I'm gonna object to the relevance, Your Honor.
What is the relevancy of her childhood and CPS?
Well, she raised it, but we can move on, Judge. With regard to Emily specifically, there was a finding of reason to believe by CPS where you and Roy had physically assaulted Emily.
Not myself, it was my husband, yes.
Okay, and you left her covered in bruising?
No, it was on her bottom part. We were misinformed on, we had very bad upbringings, and so we didn't know the proper way to discipline children. After that, we did learn and we stopped. It was on her bottom.
Okay, and so she was 6 years old at that time, right?
I believe so, that I don't remember.
Okay. Was she bathing by herself at 6 years old?
I think I would help her from time to time.
Okay. And at 6 years old, you never noticed any bleeding or marks on her body besides the ones you left?
I never thought to look, no.
Well, you never thought to look at her body?
Well, like I never would have thought to look for bruising. I would have never thought to look for abuse. No.
Okay. Isn't it true that when Emily got her period, you asked her if something had happened to her?
I don't remember.
You don't remember telling the district attorney's office that?
I'm gonna object to ask and answer.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, I don't remember. Like, I don't understand your question.
Isn't it true that you have previously told the district attorney's office that when Emily got her period at the age of 12, that you immediately asked her if something had happened to her? If anyone had touched
You're saying like after we had already known about everything?
her before?
I don't remember, I'm sorry, and I'm confused with the question. I apologize. I just don't want to say something and then like it be.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. So with CPS, they conducted an investigation from this outcry in September of 2022, right?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you cooperate with that investigation?
Yes, fully.
Okay. And then You took her to the forensic interview?
Yes, I did.
Who was with you?
I believe it was myself, my husband, and my children.
Okay, so all of you went together?
I believe so.
And
Is
then,
this with the child safe?
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. And do you recall talking to the child safe forensic interviewer?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember, you said the last time that Emily saw Alex was in 2022?
I believe so. It was after the outcry.
Okay, so you never allowed her to see Alex after the outcry?
No, I did not.
I'm showing you what I've marked as defendant exhibit 29. Is that an administrative review request that was filled out by you?
All right. This is,
Signature on page 2 with the signature date of August 11th, 2023.
so this is not my signature. Name says Clarissa Rivera.
Okay. Did you go by Clarissa Rivera?
No, ma'am. Clarissa de la Rosa.
Isn't that one of your aliases, Clarissa Rivera?
No, ma'am.
And then case name says Emily Rodriguez, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you claiming that you didn't fill this out?
I think so, ma'am. That's not even my signature. I could show you it on my ID. Not my signature. That's not even my name. Clarissa Rivera. I
Okay.
don't-
So you're saying the alleged perpetrator, Emily Rodriguez, and the alleged alleged victim, Emily Rodriguez, alleged perpetrator, Alexander Rodriguez, are completely different people.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
They're completely different people.
Who and who?
Emily and Alexander Rodriguez.
Yes.
Even the name mention of Lisette as his girlfriend. That's completely, this is a different case.
I'm sorry. Your question one more time. This really, like, I'm so sorry. I was trying to find something that was something that I had said, and so that really, I guess, brought my attention here. And then not even my signature. So it's just sorry.
Okay. And the reason you're not admitting that you find this is because here alleges that Emily was essentially molested by Alex, in February of 2023. Is that right?
I don't remember when this began, when the sexual abuse began.
Well, you know, it ended in 2022. It didn't happen in February of 2023, right?
No, she was no longer seeing him after 2022.
Okay. So whoever filed this, what is your phone number?
My phone number right now?
Yeah.
Okay, 832-341-6164.
What other names do you go by?
It's just De La Rosa.
What was your maiden name?
De La Rosa. I've been Herrera for 13 years.
So you're alleging you did not write this.
You have to object to ask and answer, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I apologize. No, the name says Clarissa Rivera, and the signature is not mine either.
Okay. And it mentions your child and the suspect and Lisette.
I guess so. There was a lot in here. That's what I was trying to unravel, but I don't know who the 210909 number is. That's not my number.
Okay.
There was a really rough history with my mom, so it could be her. But no, that's
I would
not
not
mine.
go into.
That's okay.
Okay. So you're saying your mom would have faked your identity,
Yes.
just like she reported you to CPS for the bruising?
Object to
Yes.
relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Um, You have accused multiple men of sexual assault before.
Object to 412, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Not multiple men, no.
I'm gonna object to relevance then, Your Honor.
Overruled.
You can't remember?
No, 3.
Okay. And all those 3 men have been closed out. CPS has closed the case, no findings, right?
The one when I was 4, I don't remember. The one with my father, I stopped seeing him when I was, I believe, 10 or 11.
Like, just one moment. Can I have parties approach?
I'm not sure.
When you were moving to Houston, do you recall filling it out an ICPC?
Filling out what?
An ICPC?
I don't recall.
Showing you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 30. This is a government form.
Sorry again with the Clarissa Herrera. I don't know who that is.
Okay, but you would agree that the address of that this person asked for monthly rape kits.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
At the bottom, placement be made.
Your Honor, this is hearsay.
Overruled.
You're saying at the bottom, does it say what? I'm sorry?
Under section 4, action by receiving state pursuant to Article 3D of the ICPC.
Yes, it says under supervised visitation with monthly check and unrape kits to be done every month.
And what is the date?
6/24/22.
Yeah.
But again, this is Clarissa Rivera. I have no idea what that is.
But that is your daughter, Emily, right? That's her date of birth?
Yes, ma'am.
That's her gender and sex?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's her father, Alexander Rodriguez, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So somebody was asking for monthly rape kits to be done on Emily 3 months before her outcry.
Yes, but I don't know whom.
Somebody with your name, but not your last name.
Yes. The phone number is also different, 596, just different.
For communicating that you wanted to get a gun and kill Alex.
Say that one more time, please.
That you wanted to get a gun and kill Alex.
I am a gun owner, but you're asking if I feel that way?
If you felt like that after hearing the outcry.
Absolutely.
And did you communicate that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you still allow Emily to go with his family.
Yes, I trust them.
Okay. You trust them, but according to your daughter, she was being molested during the time in which he was with them.
With all due respect, I've known them since I was 9. I do trust them.
Okay. And if they were to testify that nothing happened, they never saw anything, they never suspected anything, you would trust their
I'm gonna
testimony?
object to a hypothetical on direct, Your Honor.
All right, any legal objection?
That's not relevant.
Relevancy will be overruled. Any other objections?
Speculation.
That'll be overruled.
So what was your question? I'm sorry.
If they testify in court that they didn't see anything, hear anything, you would trust their testimony?
I wouldn't trust that statement or that opinion because it's their son. So I do get it. I have children of my own, so I get it. But
But you still allow Emily to go on vacation with them, to go out of town with them.
again, I trust them. I trust Christina. I trust her sister.
See, you. Okay. Uh, let's go over some of these communications between you and Alex. Okay. October 6th of 2021, you said you told Alex that Emily was grounded, right?
I believe so. I'm not sure. She was grounded for different things, sometimes small, sometimes large, in my opinion, just depending on what it was.
Okay. Do you recall telling Alex that she had cut herself?
I think so. She had cut herself on her arm one time, and that raised concern.
And she cut herself in your possession.
I don't recall where she was at the time.
Okay. And you told him that she had really bad anxiety, right?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Now, November 5th of 2021, you tell him that Emily really wants to spend more time with him. Is that right?
Yes, I stated that multiple times to him. I always wanted him to spend more time with her.
But the question is, Emily wanted to spend more time with him, correct?
Yes, she wanted something outside of the 2 days.
Okay. So, and when you went to Houston, or you moved to Houston, you didn't take Emily with you?
I did not know, ma'am,
Who did she stay with?
with my grandmother.
And she wanted to continue having visits with Alex, right?
I don't think so, no.
So when Emily had the opportunity to leave the city and not be with her abuser, she decided to stay.
Object to counsel testifying now.
Overruled.
So my grandparents raised me, so they've always been very close to home. I trust them with everything.
Okay. You also had concerns that Emily wasn't eating in your home, but was eating at Alex's home.
I feel like the foods he would offer her were a little bit more unhealthy and therefore more appealing.
So fatty foods, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Or fast foods.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so she felt comfortable enough to stay at his home and eat properly.
She would eat more unhealthy foods and therefore eat more, yes.
Let's talk about when she snuck out. Did you ground her for that?
I believe so.
And did you talk to Alex about what you guys were gonna do to punish her?
I believe we always try to keep communication with in regards to how we were gonna discipline her.
Okay. Now, with regard to, do you know Alex to have punished Emily physically?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Oh,
And-
like maybe little spanks, but nothing to where I thought it was excessive, no.
Okay. And, um, oh, when Emily snuck out, she snuck out to meet a boy, right?
Yes, her and one of their stepkids, or two of their stepkids.
And then you also would tell Alex that Emily was interested in an older boy, a senior.
I'm not to object to this getting into the realm of 412, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did Emily have a lot of friends?
She had enough that were sincere.
Okay, and they would come to your house?
Yes,
And they would come to Alex's house?
yes.
Now, you continue to talk to Alex even after the outcry, right?
It was very minimal after that.
Okay. Now, do you recall stating, I don't know if you care, but she's doing real good. Still a sweet soul, nothing like us. She wants to be a doctor and join the military.
Object, Your Honor, to reading outside the record.
Sustained.
So you were still giving him updates about Emily.
So growing up, I didn't have a dad. So to me, it was important that
The question is,
despite what he did, that he knew she was good.
okay, so the question is, you were still giving him information about Emily, even though she outcried.
Yes,
And then again, you were asking for more money. Yes?
I've always thought it was his financial obligation to provide for his daughter.
And then you changed your phone number. And then you gave it to him, right?
I believe so, yes.
And then when you moved back into town, you also told him where she was going to school.
Again, I've always thought it was important for him to know that she was okay.
Isn't it true that Emily was discharged from therapy October 23rd of 2023?
I believe so. I don't recall the exact date.
So, is she still seeing a therapist?
She is not.
Okay. So she only needed therapy for 1 year?
So with Child Safe, it's like a program and it's like a certain amount of months. She went through that, and then afterward, I did ask her, "Do you want to see a therapist or a counselor?" And she said no. She said she'd rather handle it herself.
And Emily, as she stands today, is she 17 or 16?
She's 17.
Now, when you talked to the initial officer about what occurred, you didn't tell him that you were having this affair with Alex, right?
No,
And was that because your husband was standing right next to you?
because it wasn't relevant. My daughter was abused, and that's what we were addressing.
Okay. So does your husband, is he aware of what has been happening between you and Alex?
Object, Your Honor, to both speculation and relevance.
That'll be overruled.
No, not fully, no.
Okay. And you've asked Emily to keep that a secret from Roy, right?
I don't know if I've asked her, we just don't discuss it.
Would meet with Alex pretty regularly for your meetups, right?
Yes,
Okay. And even during the time period where Emily was visiting Alex, you two would still run off together and have relations.
it was rare that we would include the children. It was rare, very rare.
Okay.
I always tried to keep my children apart from anything that I did.
So she never saw you and Alex together?
Object to speculation.
Overruled.
Maybe, but I mean, I was her mother and he's her father, games, things of that sort. But again, I would really try to keep my children away from anything that I did wrong.
So did you go to dinners and lunches together?
Not with my children. Or you're saying in general, him and I? Maybe, yeah.
Okay. So you don't remember an occasion where you went with Emily?
I mean, is it possible? Yes, but it was not regular, that I assure you.
Okay. And so you never asked her to not tell Roy, to keep secret?
I don't
Object,
think
asked and answered, Your Honor.
Overruled.
we discussed it. No,
Did she ever bring it up to Roy?
I don't think so, no.
When do you believe Emily had her first period?
I believe at 12.
Where was she, where were you living when she was 12?
At the 7710 address.
How far is that from Alex's residence?
About 2 miles, give or take.
Are you aware that your husband has been avoiding being subpoenaed?
Not to object to relevance and calls for speculation.
Right, with regards to relevancy, that will be sustained. Unless there's a, do you have an answer to relevancy?
Let me just ask her, are you aware that Roy Herrera has been subpoenaed for this case?
Object to relevance again, Your Honor.
Overruled.
He's very stubborn.
So he didn't want to.
Object to speculation.
I don't know.
Overruled.
Do you recall? You recall telling Alex that Roy was abusing you and the kids?
I was very dramatic when we were very dramatic. Any argument, I'd be like, oh my God, this happened, this happened. I was very dramatic.
Rolling. $31.
$30.
What number are we on?
$30.
Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna put you. I don't have an extra.
Yes.
Do you see this picture here?
Yes, I do.
And whose buttocks is that?
It's Emily's.
Okay. And do you think that you were being dramatic when you were alleging that Roy was being abusive towards the children?
So he did spank her that one time with his hand. As I said, we both were raised in very bad upbringings, so we weren't aware of how to discipline children properly. That is on her bottom. My abuse, and I know it's not about that, but it was on my back, on my legs, and here was her bottom. After this incident, we no longer ever disciplined them like that again.
This was. I did mark it incorrectly, Judge. It's 31. 30. Can I tender it to the court, Judge?
Yes.
So. With regard to Roy, he also slapped your twin boys in the face, right?
Object to relevance, Your Honor.
Relevancy.
Hunter, this child has been in a chaotic environment, and she has reported multiple times of domestic violence, and mom has not backed her up, not once.
All right, if you can approach.
You said Emily had good grades, is that right?
She's always had good grades, yes, ma'am.
And she's maintained those good grades.
Yes.
When you were called to the counselor's office, when she first told the school counselor, who was the first person you called?
Maybe my husband.
Isn't it true that you called Alex to go down with you?
I called him before. I thought the worst. I thought maybe pregnancy or something. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was severe because they were calling me to go down there.
You thought Emily might be pregnant?
Well, like, not that she would do that, but like, I didn't know. Like, why are they calling me down to the counselor?
You were upset that Alex was busy working and couldn't go. Isn't that right? I'm sorry, I'm the vet.
I don't know if I was upset. I've always try to get him to be more involved in her life.
Were you open and honest with the Detective Trevino?
For the most part, yes, I believe so.
When you say for the most part, are you sure?
About the relationship between me and Alex, no.
So, when Emily would come home, you would get her bags of clothing, is that right?
Yes.
And you would wash the clothing.
So it depends on where, I guess we were. If it was the apartments, my grandparents would wash the clothing because we had no access to washer and dryer.
So did you ever wash the clothing?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you ever see any stains or semen or blood?
I never thought to look, but I know clothes was washed at her dad's house.
Yes.
Images when she was 6. Did she still have trouble wiping?
Wiping her bottom?
Yeah.
I don't recall. This was
It's dated.
2014. I don't recall. I don't think she had issues wiping her bottom.
The age of 6, she didn't have any issue.
For the most part, no. I mean, maybe I would help her from time to time, but mainly herself. No, she would clean herself.
And she would clean herself, but she wouldn't bathe herself.
I mean, I would help her from time to time, but not religiously bathe her every day. No, she would help herself. I mean, if she needed help, I'd help her.
And you and Emily had a great relationship.
We still do this then.
And so during that time, you never noticed anything out of the ordinary.
No,
And did she have any health issues?
just anxiety.
So you never took her to the hospital for any sores or cuts or bruising?
No,
How about tears or scars?
no.
How about any irregular bowel movements?
She would have some tummy issues a lot growing up.
How many times have you tried to talk to Emily about this incident?
I try my best not to.
So if Emily has testified that you tried to talk to her several times about this, that wouldn't be true?
This is a violation of the rule, Your Honor.
Overruled.
I mean, maybe, but I try my best really genuinely not to. Like last night, I picked up her boyfriend and we went to eat. I try my best to alleviate any stress that she may have.
Do you recall telling the district attorney's office that you actually believe Emily was 5 when this happened?
5 or 6, I don't recall the starting date.
And you understand she didn't start seeing Alex until she was 7 in 2014?
I don't want to say yes or no. I don't remember. I'm horrible with dates. When we initially came on here, I said the wrong date of marriage. I just don't want to say yes and then be wrong. Horrible things.
And when you take Emily to the doctor, frequently you have to fill out a form that says when was your first period, right?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what date do you use?
I just say 2012. I'm sorry, when she was 12.
When
I
she
don't,
was 12.
yes.
Okay. And so if Emily's testimony is that it was when she was 10 or 12, You think 2 years is a big difference for when your period started?
I believe it was 12. But
That's the witness.
Just a moment, of course. Hi, Clarissa, how are you today?
I'm doing okay.
When was the first time you and I met?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Mm.
And have we ever spoken about, really gotten into the details of why we're here for it today?
No.
Okay. You know, on direct examination with defense, they kind of brought up some of the infidelity. And was that a risk you knew you were, by testifying today, did you know that that was going to be something that was going to be brought up?
Absolutely.
And yet you still chose to testify and be honest about that?
Anything I lose is worth it for my children.
Do you believe that this abuse took place at the hands of Alexander Rodriguez?
I do.
And do you remember telling the district attorney's office that you felt like you had done a lot of things wrong in your life?
Absolutely, yeah.
You stand by that statement today?
I do.
And that those wrong things you did was with respect to choices or timelines or things you could have done better or been more aware of things. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Do you wish you had seen these things a lot sooner?
Yes.
Now, counsel just asked a bunch of questions with respect to timeline, but is it fair to say that around the second grade is when your daughter was able to kind of more fully see Alexander Rodriguez?
I believe so.
Second grade, that sounds right. That makes sense.
I believe so.
And that would be kind of around the second grade. You're probably 6 years old, 5, 6, 7. Just, you know, when school starts. 5, 6, 7 is maybe a fine age range to pin down. Would you agree with that?
I do.
And when is your daughter's birthday?
11/11/07.
07 plus 6 is 2013.
I believe so.
Second grade, again, give or take a little bit, hard to know with dates, and it was so long ago from today, over a decade ago, right?
Mhm.
But that sounds right about the second grade.
Yes, sir.
And why does the second grade sound about right?
I'm just really bad at dates, but I believe so, yes.
You want me to read briefly approach?
Yes.
You recall telling Detective Trevino, I'm sorry, that you didn't give him a full story.
I'm going to object to leading, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled.
So in regards to the relationship, no, I've stated that, no.
And what did Emily say to you specifically regarding the allegation?
I'm not object to hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Can you elaborate?
Hold on. They filed an outcry notice for this witness.
Your Honor, please.
Then that'll need to be a hearing outside the presence of the jury if you're offering her as an outcry.
Yes, Judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember my previous instructions. So we're going to have a brief hearing and then I'll. All right,
Back in the state.
is this witness excused?
Yes.
All right, you may step down and please leave the microphone behind. Remember my previous instructions, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony within enough.